I had no idea what to title this video. Usually my videos deal with specific topics, which allows me to easily come up with a relevant title. However, NephilimFree's recent video, The Claire Theory, is a giant clusterfuck of fail with arguments ranging from linguistics to evolutionary biology. The video is an attempt to debunk someone on YouTube named Claire, who has been debunking various claims in NephilimFree. I suggest that you watch some of her videos. They're quite interesting. Her account is in the description box. I will be showing both Claire's clip and NephilimFree's clip, as to put Nephi's clip into context. Okay, there's no going back now. Let's just dive straight into this, shall we?
The idea of long geologic ages on Earth predates evolution by many, many centuries, going back to some of the ancient Greeks.
Claire, I've come to expect continual errors from you. Your mistake here is a lack of understanding about what the ancient Greeks actually said in their language. The ancient Greeks did not believe the earth was millions or billions of years old. They wrote of the golden age and various ages for man. Now, in the Greek mind, in ancient times, an age meant a long period, but not almost an ending period. Typically, it's referred to a period of roughly 1,000 years. And this is a big error that has come forth that has caused a lot of Christians to believe that the place of torment for sinners is eternal. You see, because of the misuse of the word aeon, which in Greek means long duration. In regards to anything that is of the earth or man, it means long duration. It does not mean eternal or unending or unbroken age.
Jesus Christ, he hasn't even spoken for a minute yet, and he's already splitting hairs. This is, of course, an absolutely ridiculous argument, because it's based solely on his own interpretation of the word eon. It also doesn't deal with the fundamental point that Claire made. Old Earth models did exist long before evolution was discovered. In fact, this is true of models of the entire universe. For example, Aristotle's cosmological model made the universe infinite in time. Both the Earth and the universe had existed for all eternity in his model. He argued that civilization was being continually wiped out by natural disasters. This explained why the Earth had existed forever, but humans seemed to have barely progressed. An even older model is the Hindu cosmological model based on the Brahmanda Purana. In this model, the universe continually expands and collapses in a cycle, each stage lasting about 311 trillion years. Interestingly, it's similar in basic principle to the Big Bang, Big Crunch models and ekpyrotic model of today. In any case, NephilimFree's argument fails to address the original point, which can be seen as a form of cherry-picking. Anyway, do carry on.
See, that's why a lot of Christians falsely believe that the place of torment is eternal, because the meaning of the word aeon has been improperly translated in modern times. The ancient Greeks never wrote with the word aeon as meaning a vast, unimaginable long period of time. It meant an age or an era. It does not mean billions or millions of years. It means roughly 1,000 years. Just like the 6,000 years the Scripture describes the Bible as, the ancient Greeks also believed mankind has existed for only thousands of years. So, you're not educated on that subject.
This is my disbelief, Kermit. You will see it often. Okay, firstly, I refer you back to Aristotle's cosmology. Secondly, unless you provide some form of evidence to support your interpretation of the word eon, I'm going to assume that, like all of your ideas, you pulled this straight from your arse.
And modern uniformitarianism has its roots in the late 18th century, a couple of generations before Charles Darwin wrote Origin of Species.
Modern uniformitarianism? Claire, uniformitarianism didn't exist until the 18th century. The ancient Greeks didn't write that the earth is millions or billions of years old. You see, that's a misunderstanding of the Greek use of the word aeon and aeonos. See, isn't it funny how in the same modern era when uniformitarianism began to be preached, somebody changed the meaning of the word aeon and aeonos in modern translations of ancient Greek writing? What a coincidence. Hey, you don't suppose there's a conspiracy going on, do you? You don't think that these people who preach uniformitarianism tried to change the meaning of the word aeon and aeonos in ancient Greek writing, do you? What do you think?
Are you seriously suggesting that because the world doesn't conform to your interpretation of a word, there must be a global conspiracy? Rather than just telling everybody that you pulled the idea from your arse, you're going to create a conspiracy theory to explain why it's inconsistent? God, Nephilim, I expect you to spout idiotic ideas, but at least try to make a good argument.
Charles Lyell was wrong. And Charles Darwin got some of his ideas from Charles Lyell. Here's something I'm sure you don't know, because, evolutionists really don't research things much.
Well, if by research you mean going to answers in Genesis and looking for some 2-bit solution created by some half-wit on his lunch break that's inconsistent with observable reality, then you're right, we don't do much research. Looks like you caught us red-handed, NephilimFree.
Charles Darwin believed in evolution before he was even 20 years old. Long before he went to the Galapagos, long before he wrote about anything regarding anything. You see, he was already indoctrinated, like you've been indoctrinated by your secular education and your desire to be free of God's authority. See, Charles Darwin already believed in evolution, long before he even the idea of doing writing.
Of course, evolutionary ideas had existed for a long time. Scientists had observed that organisms changed over time. They simply didn't understand why. In fact, Charles Darwin believed that this observation was actually evidence of design. That is, until he made his journey to the Galapagos Islands, where he observed the varying size in finch beaks. This, along with the observation of varying size in tortoises, is what sparked his idea of natural selection. Darwin was never indoctrinated. I'm afraid the only one indoctrinated here, Nephi, is you.
See, he didn't go to the Galapagos Islands until he was a mature man. And what he observed there was not evolutionary change, merely physical adaptation. A little bigger beak is not evolutionary change. It's not morphological change. It's not evolutionary change. And researchers have proven that those birds, the finches, have reverted to their previous beaks. They've reverted back to their smaller size. See? That's not evolutionary change. It's not change to morphology.
Nephilim, do you understand how incomprehensibly idiotic, factually incorrect, and self-contradictory that was? Oh my Jesus Christ, might as well be trying to teach algebra to a piece of sushi. Okay, let's deal with this piece by piece, shall we?
And what he observed there was not evolutionary change, merely physical adaptation.
What is this? Merely adaptation? Adaptation is a textbook example of evolutionary change, Nephilim. They go hand in hand. You shouldn't accuse others of not doing research when you yourself don't even understand this basic concept.
A little bigger beak is not evolutionary change. It's not morphological change. It's not evolutionary change.
For those of you who aren't familiar with that term, an organism's morphology is the structure of that organism. By definition, a morphological change would be a change in an organism's structure. Despite this, NephilimFree argues that a change in the structure of a finch's beak is not a change in morphology, which is very strange because by that standard, there is no morphological difference between the beak of a tit and that of a toucan. This is irritating because I know for a fact that NephilimFree has been corrected on this point by many people, yet he continues to use his own made-up definition of morphology.
And researchers have proven that those birds, the finches, have reverted to their previous beaks. They've reverted back to their smaller size. See? That's not evolutionary change. It's not change to morphology.
I wasn't sure if he was telling the truth or not, but after searching the internet, I found this article in The Independent, as well as this peer-reviewed paper in the academic journal Nature, that confirm what he said. Links to both papers are listed in the description box. Apparently, the beak sizes of a small group of finches on one of the Galapagos Islands are indeed reverting. What NephilimFree somehow doesn't realize is that he has just inadvertently provided an observed example of evolution within a population. Congratulations, NephilimFree. You have just won the Epic Fail of the Week award.
You find all science absurd if it suggests that the world wasn't created magically a few thousand years ago by an invisible wizard.
Jesus Christ was invisible? That's a pretty bizarre idea.
Well, considering that the Bible claims that he turned water into wine, made loaves of bread and fish materialize out of thin air, and rise from the grave, I'd say invisibility is quite tame by biblical standards. Anyway, the next clip is essentially just a rant about Jesus, and since I don't feel that it's worth the effort, I'm just going to caption it.
Claire, Jesus Christ, I'll let you in on a secret. Jesus Christ is God, manifest in the flesh of man. The Bible told us he would come as man. Jesus said he was God, and Jesus proved it with many miracles. And he proves it today, because 2.1 billion people on this planet experience God, while you and the little bitty cult of God denialists called atheists, which account for 2 to 3% of the population of the world, live in this little delusional box in their head that God is an invisible wizard. He's not even real. Hey, that sounds good. That makes me feel safe. Yeah. Alright. Because I can't see God, I can... Oh, he must not be real. That's a relief.
Well, is that so, Nephi Cakes? Why don't I try to take a look into the delusional mind box of the average atheist, based on my experience? Someone who's open to everyone's beliefs. A person who is skeptical of claims that lack evidence. A rational thinker. A person who appreciates the universe for what it is. A person that lacks a belief in a god. Well, that doesn't sound so bad to me. Now, let's take a look into the mind of NephilimFree. Let's see what his mind looks like when he creates his creationist concepts. Oh my God. I'm so sorry that you had to see that. I mean, I didn't mean to. I don't even understand what I just saw. I can't comprehend. Oh, Jesus. I think it's time to take a break, don't you?